Hello everybody. In this video, we are going to see the ADO.NET connection and how to apply in a C# program using .NET 5. It's actually really simple. I will not go deep in the complexity. I just want to show you how to do the connection, how you actually run and execute queries on top of that, how you can read that information, and how to apply it to your system. So it's actually really straightforward. But before we actually proceed, we need to have a SQL database already working in it or available for us. So in this video, I want to focus on how to create a database in one of the fastest ways that I see that is possible. If you already have one, if you already have Microsoft SQL Server installed in your laptop or your computer, you can skip this video. If you already have a database there, you can actually already skip it. If you don't have it, the book actually go through the steps how to do it through Docker. Docker is a container image environment. Look at the container like lighter virtual machines. Something like that. I know that that term is incorrect, but look at it like that. It's just to grasp the concept. And I give you in some simple steps how to actually run it through Docker. The difference there is that Docker containers database doesn't have any data. You need to actually create it. So you need to create your tables and your content. If you want to follow that, you can actually follow the book too regarding that. If not, you can actually follow the page that I have open over here. I will tag the link. It's how to quick start a SQL Server Container using Docker. Of course, for this you need to actually install Docker in your computer. And it's as simple to go to docker.com, you create an account, and pretty much download Docker Desktop, depending if you are a Windows or Mac. It actually works in both of them without issues. So you don't know that you have it. When you have it running, you can actually execute. If you are in a Mac, you go through the bash one. If you are in Windows, you can do PowerShell or CMD commands. And to execute, it's pretty much just run this one and you have a SQL Server. Of course, you need to go through the process a little bit over here, how to connect, right? And create and query data. So you need to create the databases and do things like that. But this actually takes resources from your computer. It takes less resources than the full-blown SQL Server installation, but it still takes some resources in there. So the approach that I actually will go through this video will be through the cloud. I would like to go to Azure and deploy a database over here, and I will show you how to do it. Now, of course, in order to do it, we need to have some kind of credit to be able to spend, or actually use a credit card in order to spend it. But don't worry, with your South Texas College email, and that's the important part here, with your South Texas College email. But again, my battery, it's always battery through the video, sorry for that. There you go. You can actually go to the GitHub Student Developer Pack. So you can actually, in your GitHub account, you can actually tag your South Texas College email, so you can actually have both for the system. And then you can actually go to the Student Developer Pack. You will go through a process for authorization, but that process is actually really fast. I believe they send you an email to your college email, and you need to click a link to activate, something like that. Sometimes it takes 1 or 2 days at most, but it's actually really, really fast. And the GitHub Student Developer Pack, what it does is actually give you access to a lot of free stuff just to be a student. One of the things that you can actually go there is the Microsoft Azure. So through GitHub, they actually give you access to 25 plus Azure Cloud Services, plus $100 in Azure Credit per month for a year. So this is pretty neat. You can actually use it and spend it whatever you wanted. And the database that we're going to be creating for testing purposes is a really small database, and it should, I expect to be spending like $5 to $10 a month per month how you create. So this actually is pretty much free money to spend in Azure. So I recommend you to go through this. If you don't want to get And also they give you like a bunch of stuff. Like you can see, the list is really big, and they can actually give you like a bunch of stuff. You can use whatever you want from here for any other reason. Right? I actually recommend it. It's really, really good. If you don't want to go through a trouble to education or go to education and things like that, well, you can go to Azure directly and try Azure for a student. They give you $100 developers. I believe it doesn't have everything that GitHub. I'm not sure about that. Probably it does, but what I see here, I don't see the 25 plus free resources. I just see the $100 credit. So you can actually go through here too, depending on the case that you wanted. That's pretty much what you needed, right? So after you go through that process, now if you don't want to do both, of course you can go to Docker or you can actually do the traditional installation for SQL Server. You can do anything that you want. If you already have that, you can skip all this, as I said before. So, so after you have it, you can actually you have your credits and everything. You apply your account, you accept the everything, and go through the process. You should be landing in a page like this. That's going for portal.azure.com. And when you have like your recent resources that you actually use it, you have like a bunch of stuff there. This is actually dynamic. Probably you have more things. You can actually look for more services. And at the beginning, Azure looks, I will say, intimidating for all the items that they have it. But I will want to guide you with the process how to create a database, and it should be really, really fast. So as you can see, I already have a database over here. So I can just actually click this one and proceed. Or uh, in the search bar, you can actually look for SQL database. Well, so after you have that one, it need to be SQL database, not no Dynamo, no any other thing of database here. It need to be SQL database and Dynamo. I don't know if actually Dynamo is from Microsoft or not. Probably I'm saying something. No, yeah, Dynamo is from from AWS. Sorry. So it doesn't need to be Cosmos. It doesn't need to be Synapse. It doesn't need to be anything like that. Just look for SQL databases and straightforward. Not even SQL Server Stretch. Nothing like a dedicated pool. No, nothing like that. That's more expensive and other stuff that we are not going to be using. So here I just want to create a simple SQL database so we can actually use in our program. The focus of this video is actually not the database itself, it's just how to connect to that one. That's what I want to show you. So let's click the database. You should be landing something like this. So we just need to create a new SQL database. We create a new one. It'll give you a lot of information over here, and I will guide you through that. So the first thing you will see your subscription, you see Azure for a student. If for any reason you have something else, you can actually click it. As you can see, I have a couple of professional subscription and another starter one. Well, go for the Azure for students, the one that you actually have here. So actually you select it, you need to create resources. If you don't have any resources, you can create a new one here. So just click resources like a group of different elements inside Azure. So we can actually encapsulate everything in like in a group, like in a folder, let's say it like that. So I will create a resource and I will call it CITP for a 350. That will help me a little bit to understand where all this actually belongs. So I just put the name of the class. You can put whatever you want, right? So then I will create a database. So let me just put demo database. Then I need to select a server, of course, because I'm new here. Probably you will see pretty much the same. We don't have any server, so we just need to create a new one. Click here where it says create new. And that will give you through the process on the right what type of server you wanted. So let me just put my name here probably. Or you can put whatever you want. So your server will be whatever here, .database.windows.net, right? The admin login, let me put my username, then I will create a password. Let's do what I can do here. Mm. There you go. And let me confirm it. You can put anything that you want there. You need to be a little bit more complex. You need to match. And then you look for the location. Anything that is nearest to you should be fine. So I will say south, central, east, whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Sometimes say there is no resources available. There's no resources available. Just choose another location. But at the end, it doesn't matter. I will take the first one. I will do OK. And that will create a server for me. Now, the next question is says, want to use SQL Elastic Pool? No, we don't need that. That's a little more complex for our environment. Computer and storage, as you can see, it actually gives us a really big server. It gives us a generation 5, 2 virtual core, 32 gigs of storage, redundant disable. But this server is actually expensive. So what I will do is just not to use that much. I will do configure database. Yeah. I will go over here looking for basic, standard, and premium. I will go to basic. And data max size 2 gigs, that's okay. Estimated cost monthly, $5, more than enough. So I will click on the apply. That's on the, and you don't see it right now. But how can I make this a little smaller? There you go. Over here you will see an apply in the bottom left side. And let me see if I can actually do change a little bit the sizing. There you go. Let me make this a little bit better just to perfect. So in this case, I will click apply after selecting my $5 basic server. And it changed the storage. Perfect. So what type of backup do I want? Keep it like that. We are not going to be creating any type of backup, so you actually have that error there. Don't worry, leave it like that. Then we click on the next to review the network. So here we need to actually have a connectivity. So we need to make this a public endpoint. So we need to connect from our computer to here. By default, nobody have access. You can actually private endpoint. That means that just computer or your virtual machines on the cloud have access to that. So depending. In this case, because we're going to connect to our personal computers, we need to put like a public endpoint. And then it asks, fire allow Azure services and resources to access to the server. I will say yes. And then add current client IP address. I will say yes. It will add your current IP where you're connecting, creating this in the pool or the firewall, so you can actually connect to the server. It's pretty neat because by default it blocks the rest of the IPs. I will go next through security. You said you want the Defender for SQL, like package include vulnerability assessment. We don't need to do that. It's actually cost $50, and this is just a demo test, so we will keep it as no. Additional settings, data source, and this is the important one. We are going to select the sample. That will create some table for us and have information about some purchasing, some customers, some sales, things like that, right? So we keep it like that one. You see the tags, you can tag it if you want it. If not, we can just keep it. Review and create. We will see pretty much how much are we spending. We are around $5 monthly. Sometimes the prices could be a little bit bigger than actually says here, but it's around this. Is my subscription, Azure for a student, this is a resource, this section, my database name, my server name. Everyone have access. I added my personal IP and probably need to be hiding this, but well, it's okay. Advanced data security, everything is disabled, and we're using the sample data. Perfect. So we just click in the create button, and we should be fine. And we just need to wait. So deployment is in progress. This will take around 5 to 10 minutes. Depending, I will pause the video and I will show you how it looks like after it finishes. Okay, it just finishes for me like in 6-7 minutes, more or less. And as you can see, my deployment is complete. I can actually see my details. And it created the servers. The server finished. It created the firewall rules that specify. It created the database, so everything is there. So if I quickly go to my resources, I should see that this is actually this is my server. This is my database itself, and this is remote what I have here. Now, if I want to connect to this one, I can actually see the connection string. We just click this part, and we have the AD.NET connection string. This is the one that we're going to use. We're going to just remove the user and the password one for the source code, but I will show you that later. For now, this is pretty much what we need to have it. So let me just get back, and just to test it, I recommend go and get the Azure Data Studio. It's a lightweight database management system. You can download it for Windows and Mac. I will have that again, a link over there. And actually you have it. Let me actually open for myself. Azure Data Studio. And I already have something here, so let me just delete it. So I can actually show you the process. Okay, so after you download the SQL Data Studio, this is how it looks like, right? So I will just create a new connection here on the left, and I will put it over here. I'll put it once over here. They go to my portal. So you ask me what type of connection is a Microsoft SQL Server. You ask me what is my server. My server is this one that we have here. So let me just copy and paste it. Authentication type, we need to go to SQL login or Azure Active Directory. We don't have this for now, but it's going to be SQL login. The username is the username that you specify where you created. In my case was this username. And then the password that we created. And let me just put my password there. I will click remember password. I will open database. And we'll open the default one. That's okay. Server group. The default one. That should be fine. And then we can actually save it. Demo database server in Azure. Or whatever name you want to put it or not. So we try it. Let me click connect. Something failed with my user. Let me try again. Probably was my password. Let me see what is actually happening here. Okay, sorry for the delay. I was able to fix the connection. It should be really straightforward for you. In my case, I forget my password or somehow I had a typo. So I needed to come back to my server. Let me show you what I did. Actually, I deleted the database. I created another one called real demo, sorry. That didn't work. So I went to the server name, and on my server, I just clicked three little dots and reset the password. So I created a new password. I waited that to be propagated. I used the new password and it worked. So somehow the issue was the password. Oh yeah. So after I have that, we can actually see on the servers we are already connected to real demo. So we can actually, you should be able to see it right here. I don't know why I don't have it there. Let me cancel. Let me just add a new server again. Browse here. Connect. There you go. Okay, you should be seeing this here. You see like the database here. Perfect. That's okay. Let's select the database, and you should be able to see the tables that we have there. So we have the customer, for example, customer address, product category, like there's a basic data. So we can actually do a query to select everything from sales LT at customer, and we execute. And if we pull up data like this, that means it's actually working. Let's do select just the first name, and there you go. So with that, we should be able to connect to the database. So now that we have a database, we can actually proceed with the next video in order to connect C# to this particular database, and I will show you how. So anything else, just let me know. Happy coding, everybody.